Lewis, a master storyteller. Lewis was a master storyteller. He captivated readers with tales of mythical creatures and fantastical worlds. From the magical land of Narnia to the depths of space, his stories sparked our imaginations. Lewis was a scholar and a theologian. He explored complex ideas about faith, reason, and the human condition. Lewis believed in the power of stories. To him, stories were a way to explore truth. They helped us make sense of the world around us. His own journey of faith was deeply intertwined with his love for stories. Faith and imagination, an unexpected bond. Lewis challenged the notion that faith and imagination are at odds. He saw them as two sides of the same coin. Imagination, he believed, was not the opposite of reason. It was a different way of knowing. Lewis argued that faith requires imagination. To believe in something unseen, we need to use our imaginations. Stories have the power to transport us. They help us to see the world through the eyes of others. The struggle with reason. Many people struggle to reconcile faith with reason. The modern world often emphasizes logic, evidence, and scientific proof. Faith, on the other hand, can feel intangible and subjective. Lewis understood this struggle. He himself was an atheist for many years. He grappled with intellectual doubts and questioned the validity of faith. He found that logic alone could not provide all the answers. There were aspects of life that defied easy explanation. Lewis argued that reason has its limits. Faith, he believed, was not about suppressing reason, but about transcending it. Faith as a leap. Faith for Lewis was not a passive acceptance of dogma. It was not about blind belief or intellectual laziness. Instead, he saw faith as an active choice, a leap into the unknown. It required courage to step outside of our comfort zones. Lewis compared faith to falling in love. You can't logically prove that someone is worthy of your love. Similarly, faith in God requires a willingness to trust in something beyond our immediate understanding. This act of trust, this leap of faith, is where imagination becomes essential. Imagination allows us to envision possibilities. Imagination, a bridge between worlds. Lewis saw imagination as a bridge between the material and the spiritual. He believed that our imaginations are a reflection of God's own creative imagination. Through imagination, we can catch glimpses of a reality that transcends our everyday experience. Think of a child lost in play, building imaginary worlds out of everyday objects. In that moment, they are not simply escaping reality. They are creating new realities, exploring possibility. Through the power of imagination, Lewis believed, we can begin to grasp the mysteries of faith. The Chronicles of Narnia, Allegory and Imagination. One of Lewis's most beloved works is a testament to the power of imagination in exploring faith. Lewis uses the fantastical world of Narnia to explore Christian themes like redemption, sacrifice, and the battle between good and evil. Aslan, the majestic lion, serves as a clear allegorical representation of Christ. The children's journeys through Narnia become metaphors for spiritual journeys. They face trials and temptations, experience doubt and fear, and ultimately discover courage, loyalty, and faith. Through their adventures, Lewis shows how faith can be a source of strength and hope. Lewis presents complex theological concepts in a way that is engaging and thought-provoking for readers of all ages. Stepping through the wardrobe, finding faith in Narnia. The act of entering Narnia reflects the way faith asks us to step outside our everyday understanding of the world. It's a journey that requires a suspension of disbelief. Consider Lucy's first encounter with Narnia. She steps through the wardrobe and finds herself in a magical world. This act mirrors the leap of faith required to embrace the unseen. The children's initial skepticism and gradual acceptance of Narnia's reality echo the human experience of grappling with faith. Through the children's eyes, we see how imagination can be a catalyst for faith. In Lewis tackles complex theological ideas in a clear and logical way. He uses everyday language and relatable examples to explain concepts like sin, redemption, and the nature of God. Lewis understood that faith can be intimidating, especially for those who are new to it. He wanted to present the core principles of Christianity in a way that was both intellectually stimulating and spiritually nourishing. He uses the image of a moral law written on our hearts to illustrate the human understanding of right and wrong. Lewis also masterfully employs logic and reason to argue for the existence of God. Through his clear and engaging prose, Lewis invites readers to consider the possibility of faith. Lewis believed that myths, often dismissed as mere fantasy, hold profound truths about the human condition and our relationship with the divine. He argued that these ancient stories, passed down through generations, tap into something universal and timeless. In his essay, Myth Became Fact, Lewis famously wrote, "We must not be ashamed of the mythical radiance resting on our theology." He saw echoes of Christian truths in various mythologies, suggesting a common human longing for redemption. He believed that these stories, while not literally true, could point us towards a deeper understanding of ourselves. Lewis argued that stories have the power to bypass our intellectual defenses and speak directly to our hearts. In this way, myths can serve as a bridge between the human and the divine. Ultimately, Lewis believed that faith is not just an intellectual exercise, it's an experience. It's about encountering God on a personal level, feeling his presence in our lives. He acknowledged that words often fail to capture the fullness of the divine. This is where imagination becomes essential. Through imagination, we can approach the mystery of God with a sense of wonder, awe, and humility. By embracing our imaginations, we cultivate a sense of childlike wonder and an openness to the transformative power of faith. Seeing is believing. The limits of logic. Lewis recognized the limitations of logic when it came to matters of faith. He argued that faith wasn't about checking boxes or solving equations. It was about opening yourself to a reality that transcended the purely rational. He compared our understanding of God to a child's understanding of the ocean. A child might grasp the concepts of waves and sand, but the vastness, the depth, the sheer power of the ocean remain beyond their comprehension until they experience it firsthand. Similarly, we can talk about God, debate theological concepts, even try to prove his existence through logic. But until we take that leap of faith, our understanding remains limited. Baptized imagination. A new way of seeing. Lewis used the term baptized imagination to describe the way our imaginations can be transformed by faith. He believed that when we encounter the divine, our imaginations are awakened, cleansed, and given new life. He argued that our imaginations, often bombarded with the mundane and the materialistic, can become dull to the presence of the spiritual. We need to reawaken our sense of awe, our ability to perceive the extraordinary and the ordinary. This is where art, music, literature, and even nature play a crucial role. When our imaginations are baptized, we begin to see the world differently. Living the story, faith beyond words. For Lewis, faith wasn't just about believing certain doctrines or adhering to a set of rules. It was about entering into a story, the grand narrative of God's love for humanity. It was about allowing that story to shape our lives, our choices, our very identities. He believed that we are not merely observers of this story, but active participants. We have a role to play, a part to contribute. Our lives become intertwined with the lives of those who have gone before us and those who will come after. It's about loving our neighbors, serving others, and striving to make the world a more just and compassionate place. Lewis reminds us that faith is not a passive pursuit, but a call to action. The enduring power of imagination. Throughout his writings, C.S. Lewis championed the power of imagination, not as an escape from reality, but as a pathway to a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the universe. He reminded us that faith itself requires a leap of imagination, a willingness to embrace the unseen and the unknown. Lewis challenged the notion that faith and reason are incompatible, suggesting instead that they are two sides of the same coin. He believed that our rational minds, while essential, could only take us so far on the journey of faith. It was through the power of imagination that we could truly grasp the mysteries of the divine. By revisiting the fantastical worlds he created in Narnia, we begin to grasp the profound connection between faith and imagination. Lewis invites us to approach our own faith journeys with a renewed sense of wonder and a willingness to see the world through the lens of possibility. Lewis reminds us that some truths can only be grasped through the language of metaphor, myth, and imagination. A journey of wonder and discovery. As we've explored throughout this video, C.S. Lewis believed that faith is not a destination, but a journey, a lifelong exploration of the mysteries of God and our relationship with the divine. He encouraged us to embrace the wonder and curiosity of a child, to never lose our sense of awe in the face of the unknown. Lewis understood that doubt and uncertainty are not the enemies of faith, but rather integral parts of the journey. It's through wrestling with our questions, through seeking answers in both the seen and unseen realms, that our faith is strengthened and our understanding deepened. He invites us to engage with our imaginations, not as a form of escapism, but as a tool for spiritual growth and transformation. By reading stories, exploring nature, contemplating art, and engaging in meaningful conversations, we open ourselves to the possibility of encountering the divine in unexpected ways. The legacy of C.S. Lewis continues to inspire generations of readers and thinkers to embrace the power of imagination in their own lives. His work serves as a reminder that faith, far from being a static set of beliefs, is a dynamic and ever-evolving journey of the heart, mind, and soul.